Last thing here, Phil Steele, try and get it right. Not that he didn't mess up a last name recently, but we won't go super far into that. Predicted his finish of Big 12 teams. And I thought these were interesting. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Baylor 1, Utah 2, so they rebound. Iowa State 3, Arizona State 4, so they drop a little bit. Kansas State 5, and then we have Texas Tech 6 with all the money they're spending, TCU, and then BYU 8. So he wasn't, and I believe this came out before the Retzlaff.
Yeah.
So he wasn't a believer in them even before the Retzlaff news came out. I could see if you were reactionary and tried to change it, but he wasn't a BYU fan there. If Texas Tech finishes 6th in the conference, I guess that's the best place to start, even though I know you're a Baylor guy. We'll talk about them in a minute too, but just overall thoughts here. If he's right and Texas Tech finishes 6th, that's going to feel weird.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. There is way too much money in that program this season to finish 6th in the Big 12. There is and this was softball, right? Softball at the beginning of the year, Texas Tech struggled. They struggled through the non-conference a bit and then finally put it together. They go to the national championship and they're a couple outs away. I mean, they're sitting right there to win the whole thing. And I believe that's how Tech football will be. You'll see maybe a game or two where they look sloppy. I think they'll win most of their early slate. They'll look a little sloppy though, and then they have to put it together. They're too good not to. They have tried to do the Ohio State route of let's build a multi-million-dollar football team. You know, we've heard the rumors of $55 million in their athletic department being thrown around in NIL. They're trying to go the route of picking up massive transfers, giving them a ton of money, and dominating. Top 3 transfer portal class in the country. How good of a football team can we build? And they got that Stanford kid to boot. So as I'm saying all this, I'm talking myself into Texas Tech being in Arlington. I think they will be. And Phil Steele has them at 6. If they finish 6th in the league this year, and this is a wild thing to say about Texas Tech, if they finish 6th, Joey McGuire is squarely on the hot seat. It might not be working out. You may need to veer away from, I like Joey McGuire a ton, but you would have to veer away from the good old high school football coach, who I think is a dying breed in college football, and go out and get more of a business mogul, a GM style guy who can game manage, but mostly manage a locker room, not be the hoorah guy. 20 years ago, Joey McGuire's the best of the best in college football. Today, with the way that money has diluted the sport, that's where things get really tough for a guy like that who wants to do things the right way.
Yeah, I think we've talked about what their expectations have to be. And I just think when you're investing that much money into a roster, I don't even want to. They've put this on themselves. This is not me, TJ in Tampa, like coming up with this. But to me, I think they have to be in the college football playoff. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't even know that you can spend that much money and say, we made it to Arlington. We lost a couple of games, made it to Arlington, lost that too. We went 10-3 and didn't make the playoff. I really think they have to be there. And I guess at 10-3 they could sneak in if they don't penalize. The Big 12 was the only conference last year that didn't get both of its big championship competitors in, but I guess they could sneak in at 10-3 if they're ranked high enough. But to me, it has to be a playoff appearance, and if anything less than that, man, feels like you really spent a lot of money to not do enough.
Yeah, crazy thing to say about Texas Tech, by the way, because they're perennial 8-4. We love them going 8-4. We've always loved that, and now it's like, oh nope, you must go to the college football playoff.
Yeah, which is crazy. No, maybe I don't know. Yeah, I can't talk myself out of that. Baylor 1, Utah 2. I know a lot of people are high on Sawyer. Baylor 1 is very interesting to me. I certainly don't think that's outside of the realm of possibilities. And then Utah bouncing back to have a really good year as well. Thoughts on those two?
I am stunned that we are seeing of the 2 schools from Utah in the Big 12, BYU at 8, Utah at 2 here. Very gutsy from Phil Steele. I'm not sure what he sees. He says Utah is a popular pick year to year in the Big 12 and the Pac-12 before that. I don't know why year to year. They've only been here 2 years, so I'm confused. Testament to head coach Kyle Willingham, which I agree with. Steele likes them as a second best squad in the conference this year to go to Arlington. I still have a lot of questions about their quarterback. Devin Dampier is good, and I think that he can be good, but I also saw DeQuan Finn at Baylor, who was a better quarterback on paper than Dampier, coming to the Big 12, get eaten up, spit out. And thanks to that, Sawyer Robertson became the guy at Baylor and one of the guys in the Big 12. So I just have two. I think Utah's offensive line is great. I think their quarterback play is just not proven yet. And I'm interested to see Utah jump from a 13th place finish to the second place finish in the Big 12. I'm not sure if I see that much. I am fairly high on Utah. I don't think they'll finish lower than 10. They're probably a top half of the Big 12 team, but 2 is crazy. And then Baylor, I graduated from Baylor. I'm a Baylor guy. They're probably the 4th or 5th best team in the Big 12. I don't see they're not one. They're not one. Yeah, they have a good running back, and Sawyer Robertson's solid for sure. Bryson Washington's going to be fun to watch. Dawson Pendergrass also very solid. They're not one. Their defense still gives me that LSU bowl game was Swiss cheese. Their poor secondary, their defensive line, the trenches are going to be a huge difference in that Auburn game. I think Auburn's going to outman Baylor there. Baylor can outcoach. I think Dave Aranda is a great analytical mind, a very good analytical football coach, not a great leader per se, has those tangibles. And so TJ, we'll see for the old Baylor Bears. But I don't have a ton of confidence in them.
So last thing, and then we'll wrap. Iowa State, Arizona State, and then Kansas State. Do they have the best 3 quarterbacks? I'm really high on Sawyer too, so I won't exclude him.
What do you mean last thing? BYU's at 8, and you're burying the lead right now?
Well, I thought we already. Okay, we'll do BYU too. But Iowa State, Arizona State, both your championship competitors last year, and neither of them make it back. And then, Avery Johnson also up there. Kansas State finishing 5th. I don't know, man. Like I know he uses a lot of analytics and he's got a lot of data and stuff, but we're picking apart this thing like it's Baylor's defense was cheese.
So I'm actively trying to look up the 2024 Big 12 rankings so I can because there's no way Phil Steele got it right last year. There's no way that I think he gets it right this year when you consider that you just hit the nail on the head. The Big 12 from a quarterback standpoint, Rocco Becht to Sam Levitt to Avery Johnson, you're telling me all 3 of those guys will be out of Arlington? All 3 of those guys will be out of the college football playoff conversation? I'm not positive if I can exactly buy into that. And I'm really not believing, again, that we're going to see BYU at 8 with or without a really solid quarterback. Those are 3 quarterback-driven teams, no doubt, and they're going to rely on those guys to win. I think Avery Johnson is still underrated, though we said he was going to be a Heisman contender last season. He wasn't really that. And I also, okay, cool. Utah at 1, Oklahoma State at 2 last year for Phil Steele. That I was just burying the lead. So you're over there, TJ, like, oh, well, I know he's an analytical guy and reads a lot of books. All right, Utah 1, Oklahoma State 2. So that's what we learned about Phil Steele. He had Texas Tech at 10 last season. I don't know who hurt him in Lubbock. I'm not sure who. He also had Kansas and UCF in the middle of the pack, and UCF effectively fired its coach. Arizona State at 15, BYU at 14, Colorado 13 for him last year. So what is any of this but just beautiful, wonderful things to tack on the locker room wall?
Maybe he does them counting the wrong way, and when he turns them in, they're just reading it like really 16 is 1 and 1 is 16. Maybe he's just doing it like in reverse order, and they didn't realize that when they put this article together.
If they did in reverse order, BYU would be like 9 then.
Yeah.
Them being in the smack middle it's not helping me whatsoever. And I just that smells of some. I know Phil Steele watches college football. Does he watch the Big 12? Does anyone watch the Big 12 right now?
Besides us.
Yeah, right. And I don't hate some of these. TCU at 7, but Cincinnati at 9? They were terrible last year, and they brought back a little bit of terrible this year. And they did okay in the transfer portal, but not elite. So the throw up in my mouth for some of these, and Phil Steele, even West Virginia at 16, I think it's silly. I don't think West Virginia will be last in the Big 12, maybe 12, maybe 13, not 16. Phil Steele gets a C+ in my report card for today.
The definition of mid. Drake, where can people follow you? Where can they find your work?
Yep, at Locked On Big 12 on Twitter, at wherever you find your podcasts with Locked On Big 12, and on YouTube.
Thanks, man. Enjoy the 4th.
Always fun, TJ. You too.